The Blackhawks blow a 2-1 lead with 39 seconds left, then lose in overtime. We'll wrap the game up next on CHGO Blackhawks. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks post-game podcast. Hawks lose 3-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Chloe Thiel is here running the show as well. We appreciate you being here with us. Like I said, Hawks lose 3-2 in overtime to the Jets. Boy, Mark Scheifele, 3 points, overtime winner. Cole Perfetti sends it to overtime with 39 seconds to go. Just a very, very frustrating way to lose a game when they basically played 40 really solid minutes and then just had their asses handed to them in the third.
Yeah, it's deflating because you were 39.6 seconds away from getting a regulation win to close a 4-game road trip. To get wins at this time of year for a team that is in selling mode leading up to the trade deadline, like that's something good in a time of uncertainty for some players, and it can be weird for these teams around the trade deadline of, guys coming in, leaving, not really knowing exactly what's going to happen. Anytime you can get a win like that, just is good. That's just good for the
spirits,
good for the room, and good, it would be good for this team. We've talked about. We talked about after the last game, these players getting that experience of playing the way that they need to get wins at the professional level, especially for the young players. That is good experience. They didn't play a bad game tonight.
No.
Like the third period, they score early, get Ryan Greene, get the goal from him, make it 2-1, and then the Jets push, and the Hawks are trying to bend but don't break. Spencer Knight made some good saves, but then Tyler Bertuzzi made a really good block, sacrificing his body late in the third period. But then with the goalie pulled, the Jets are just able to find the game-tying goal, and then you go to overtime, and you have chances. They just don't finish them, and then the Jets are able to keep a puck in their own zone as the Blackhawks are trying to get a break going the other way, and Mark Scheifele buries it. So they played good tonight. They just didn't play good enough to close the game and win.
Yeah, as soon as the Hawks scored the second goal, the Ryan Greene goal, which is a beautiful snipe 30 seconds into the third period, set up from Bedard on the boards, his second point of the game, the Jets just turned it on. And you saw the Hawks kind of falling back. And I'd stop a little bit short of calling it the prevent. They were trying to leave the zone, but they were just having trouble getting out and look. Say what you want about the Winnipeg Jets. They've had a really bad year. They've had an injury-plagued year. This is a good hockey team with good hockey players that have been playing successful hockey for a long time, and they knew just keep going, keep pushing. And you saw with the empty net, they were not getting cute. They were not trying to make the perfect play. They were just throwing everything they could at Spencer Knight. And eventually Cole Perfetti pops one in, harmless little shot. He's just there, and it just finds its way underneath Spencer Knight. You can't sit back, but these are the sort of lessons you're going to learn. And when you lose Connor Murphy, who is always really good at sort of stopping the cycle of the other team, he was sort of a fire extinguisher in those situations.
Yeah.
You lose that, it's going to look like this down the stretch as this team gets younger and younger, especially if they lose McCabe and especially if they lose Dickinson. You're going to learn some hard lessons this way. But I think if there's any takeaway, it's don't stop attacking.
Yeah.
Do not start worrying about, okay, now we can't give up a goal. No, you were well in control of the game for 40 minutes and 32 seconds, right? They were the better team by far. And then all of a sudden the Jets are like, well, we're down. Time to start pushing. And they just could not hold on long enough. And these late goals, man, oh my gosh, like how many have they given up in the last 2 minutes of games that have cost them points? And if you want a silver lining it, you could say at least they're up late in games, right? Like that, if you're looking for something bright to take away from it.
Yeah.
But you're right. These are lessons that young players will learn. This is a coaching opportunity for Jeff Blashill. But every time a heartbreaker like this happens, it just saps the life out of these guys a little bit. And you've got to imagine that locker room right now and that plane ride home is going to be very, very quiet because they know they let 2 points escape.
Yeah, I think that they understand that, you know, they're trying to close the season as strong as they can. Playoffs are not a realistic expectation at this point. And, you know, had they won this game in regulation, they would have jumped over the Jets in the Central Division standing. So then, you know, you got two teams behind you. And as much as that, you know, doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things. If you're going to miss the playoffs, you're going to miss the playoffs. You'd want the best lottery odds, quote unquote. But for the guys in the group, that would mean something. Getting wins and getting points like that means something. They're caring about each one of these games as much as possible. So it is tough to see the result be what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's when you go through this rebuilding process, and it's not new. Like we've seen this Blackhawks team year over year, the last few seasons, get younger as the trade deadline approached. More players came up, more, for lack of a better term, moral victories. But it's been progressing, and I think you now need to see those moral victories become actual victories. You need to see those 2-1 leads late be held, or you get a chance and you put it into the empty net and make it 3-1 and go home comfortably. And that is a learning process for these guys to be able to hunker down. And the other thing too is this is a Winnipeg Jets team that last year they were the President's Trophy winners. Mm-hmm. And this season, things just haven't gone their way, but they're still a really talented team. That's still Connor Hellebuck,
right?
U.S. gold medal winning Connor Hellebuck, who had a great game.
It could have been 4-1 easy in this game.
Yeah.
Easy.
So I think you kind of, you hate to say like put too many flowers on a loss like this, but I think the spot that they were in, they had chances to win. And I think you just not coming away with it is the biggest deflator. They just have to grow. They just have to grow and find those ways to finish the game. You go up and down the lineup and you look at the individual performances tonight. Connor Bedard, 2-point night. Teuvo Teravainen gets the power play goal. Ryan Greene with a nice snipe of a goal. Alex Vlasic and Louis Crevier were leaned on heavily defensively. Sam Rinzel and Artem Levchinov both had, I would say, pretty decent games. Yeah. Ethan Del Mastro came in and played a really good game too, considering the circumstances of flying into Winnipeg today and playing that game. Like, he had a pretty good game. Like, Frank Nazar, people have been talking about his production. Like, he got the primary assist on the opening goal. Like, there were a lot of good individual performances tonight. So to come away with the loss in the fashion that it did really sucks. It really takes the wind out of you. But again, like, I come back to, like, it was a pretty decent game. Like, they had their chances, and it just irks me that they weren't able to close it out with 40 seconds to go. You
want to see them get rewarded, right? Yeah, you want to see them get rewarded for one of their better efforts in recent memory, right? Like, through 40 minutes, this is one of the best games they've played in the calendar year, for sure. I don't know if you would say all year. They had some really great games early in the season, some blowout wins over some decent teams. You want to see them get rewarded for overall the effort they put into this game. They were playing hard in the first period, second period. They were relentless. Everybody was battling for a puck. Everybody was battling on the boards. And I don't think they stopped fighting, But I think that doubt starts to set in a little bit of, okay, here we go again. We're up a goal late. We can't give it up. We can't give it up. And we talk about this all the time. You're thinking and you're thinking and you're thinking and you're not using your instincts and you're not reacting. And by then you're screwed. Hopefully the clock just runs out before it costs you. Today they needed 39 more seconds of clock to run out before it cost them. Yeah. And they couldn't get it. And then overtime, as we learned in the Olympics, 3-on-3 overtime, we knew this before the Olympics. It's a coin flip, right? It's a coin flip. Yeah. In that last play, a puck kind of bounces to Ryan Greene's feet. He's trying to swat it, forward out of the zone to Teuvo. It hits a skate. It goes right to Sandberg, and he gives it to Mark Scheifele, who is not going to miss that shot very often. No one really made a mistake. It was a bad situation where a puck just found its way to Ryan Greene, and he's kind of handcuffed by it because it's right between his 2 feet, and he does everything he can to advance it, and there's just nothing he can do. There's no one really in this one where I say this guy is to blame or these guys are to blame or this coaching decision was the problem. No. They just lost. And they lost in a crappy way, in a painful way. But overall, I think there's way more positives to take away from this game than negatives.
Yeah.
I know it sucks. It sucks. Like in the wake of it is so deflating. 100%.
We're watching a game here at the office, and it's 2-1. The Hellebuck is pulled. There's a minute left to play, and I'm getting excited. I'm like, all right, sweet. Like, hey, 2-2 on the road trip to come back from the break. You get a win in the final game. You come home with a little bit of good feelings. Some good vibes on the plane ride back from Winnipeg back home. Like I said before, you get wins when it's trade deadline time, and you just his first game, no Connor Murphy around. Like, you want to kind of feel that positivity, and then it just sucks the wind out of you. And I got to imagine for the team, like, they're pissed that game ended the way that they did. And coming over here and getting set up for an overtime loss show is a lot different than getting, it's a lot different of a feeling than getting ready for a game that they had just won. So, yeah, it's just it's just a deflator. Like, I feel like, obviously the team needed this one. They need them all. They want them all. But I feel like, for the fan base too, I want Hawks fans to get some wins in this final stretch of the season and have some good feelings going into the offseason, because we're going to see some more changeover as the Friday comes and goes, and then we're going to be on Frondell watch, and then there's going to be the wave of him arriving eventually, and then you're looking at when BU's season is over, or when Providence's season is over, or, looking at guys in the OHL, like, oh, they're going to get, bounced early in the playoffs, and maybe, Vanacker or Spellacy or whoever, shows up early or whatever like that. Like, but you want to still have like the NHL team getting the wins. Like, you want that positivity and those vibes and stuff, because you want that momentum for when Frondell shows up. Like, if they could win a couple games and then he shows up, people are in a good mood.
Yeah, definitely.
Players are in a good mood. He shows up, and like, it's you kind of feel like you can feed off of that. So I really would hope that we can get a little bit of that going here in March.
We got to get to break zone, and we're going to, but we've got to tell you about our nominees for our Game Day Men's Health Game Puck. Connor Bedard had 2 assists in this game. Really, really solid from start to finish, just full of energy. Clearly one of these games where he just was sort of saying, I'm just going to kind of do this myself. Awesome game. Connor Hellebuck denied him on several really good opportunities, so he gets a game puck. Teuvo Teravainen scores a goal as well for the Hawks. Solid game for him. And third nominee is Frank Nazar, who had a really nice game, got the assist on Teuvo's goal, and just was a little more noticeable tonight, right? Using his speed, getting some scoring chances, had a breakaway that Connor Hellebuck stopped. It's baby steps. We obviously want to see more production from Frank Nazar, but the overall game today was better. So get your votes in. We'll reveal the winner at the end of the show. Better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you. Hitting the break zone, back in 2 minutes with some cool stuff we want to tell you about for tomorrow. That's next on CHGO Blackhawks. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 dang years? That, my friends, is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that lets you stream the game even when your whole family is online, or if you live alone. All your devices working together in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contract, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from us, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, rebuilds go on, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable and the price should stay put. So lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Make sure your home is ready for whatever season tomorrow brings. It could be summer,
Could be any.
could be fall, could be winter, could be spring. You never know. There's 4 of them. And to make sure your home is ready, call 4 Seasons. 4 Seasons, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They have you covered all year, all over your home. And if you're looking for a whole home generator, 4 Seasons also has you covered there. They can guarantee same-day installation for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs, and do not charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays, which is, of course, when things break. They have been your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric in the Chicagoland area for over 50 years. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. Again, that's 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all the right reasons.
All right, we are back on CHGO Blackhawks. If you've not done it yet, do us a favor and hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page as well. If you don't know, March 4th is Chicago's birthday tomorrow. 189 years old, Chicago will turn.
Looking great.
But more importantly, CHGO will turn 4 years old tomorrow.
Wow.
And we're celebrating in style at Leaders 1152 West Madison Street. We have a collaboration with the brand Free Agent. You see those designs on your screen. If you're not watching on the screen, Mark Lazarus, you can go to YouTube and watch it later and see the things we're talking about visually. There they are.
It's a t-shirt.
One's
and then
black.
a long sleeve t-shirt.
Exactly. So if you want to meet us, we're going to be hanging out there. Mario and I are going to be there between like 1 and 2 probably before the show. Chloe might be there if she gets her work done in time.
Oh, okay.
But that's Leaders 1152 West Madison.
Wow.
And she got to get her tooth did. You gotta get your tooth did tomorrow, right?
I'm not getting one tooth did.
You're
Jay's
getting
making it sound like I have 0
all 3.
teeth.
You're getting teeth pulled?
I said, what if I have to get all my teeth pulled tomorrow? Then what do I do?
Then you won't be at Leaders,
and
will
then
you?
Jake
You
said,
get
you can come
dentures.
later. I was like, okay, cool.
Well, it's gonna be fun. Our 4th birthday celebration at Leaders. So come out and say hi. We're gonna be there. CHGO will be there from noon to 7 p.m. and grab one of these awesome limited edition designs. Once they're gone, they're gone.
It's only going to be available.
Yes, only at Leaders.
This isn't on our website. Only available there. So you got to come out and it'd be a lot of fun. I'm not sure exactly what to expect at Leaders. I'm going to show up and have a good time. Hopefully you do too.
It says talent in the building, drinks flowing, good vibes all day. That's what I expect.
I'll take that.
Let's go.
I'm going to take the train tomorrow so I can enjoy all those drinks and then come do a show.
Hopefully we'll see you at Leaders, and just keep your eye on all the CHGO social medias. Might be something else sort of special coming for you tomorrow as well. So
is 4 years longer than 6 months?
As far as I know.
Nice. Okay.
At last check.
Just checking.
Why do you ask?
I'm just asking for a friend.
I'm very confused.
Nah.
No one? Anyone?
Anyways,
okay.
Hawks game, they lost.
They did.
We're sad.
Let's one of the big stories today, we spent a lot of the pregame show talking about it, was Ethan Del Mastro in for Kevin Korchinski. And our thought was, wow, maybe Jeff Blashill trusts Ethan Del Mastro more. That is correct.
Sure
Ethan
does.
Del Mastro played 15-07 in this game, had a shot on goal, 3 shot attempts, 2 hits, and 3 block shots. I thought he was really noticeable. I thought he looked very calm. I think he looked very confident. I liked what I saw from 38 today. And make no mistake, when we voice our frustration about the handling of Kevin Korchinski, it has nothing to do with Ethan Del Mastro. I'd like them both to be playing.
Yes.
That'd be great.
I'd be happy with that in whatever fashion it would happen. But yeah, so Korchinski aside.
Yeah.
Del Mastro, yeah, he had a very solid game. He's someone that has the play style similar to Connor Murphy. So I can understand the roster decision of we need someone in the lineup to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I can live with that. And I think like he was tasked with some decent minutes playing alongside Sam Rinzel. I think Rinzel had a decent game, and being paired with Del Mastro probably helped out a little bit. And yeah, there were some times where Del Mastro actually jumped into the offensive zone and tried to make some plays, had a few shot attempts today. And for a guy that is more thought of as defensive first kind of thing, he's not really known for the offensive game, to feel confident enough to jump in and do that, like, hey, all the more power to him. Like, I think if he can if he's going to get the ice time and take advantage of it, then great. Then that's another young guy that I think we're all kind of factoring into the puzzle of the future. And if he's going to get the opportunity to do it and does it, wonderful. That's another piece of the rebuild that, although not coming from Davidson's time, he was a Bowman pick. It's kind of found money. He was a 4th round pick for a guy that wasn't picked by the current GM. And if he becomes a guy that's entrusted to be an NHL regular as a young player, wonderful. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we noticed, what was it, our first training camp we covered? So that'd be 2023, right? It'd be the 22 training camp.
22.
And we walked 23. In and we're like, who is that adult man playing with the... and it was Ethan Del Mastro 3 years ago.
Yeah, he was a big guy, like physically feels like ready to be in the NHL. And that's one of those things, now bringing Korchinski from over here back into the conversation. That's one of those things that I think over the last 2 seasons it's been since Korchinski's rookie year. One of the things has been like, okay, like he's a tall guy, lanky, but like lean, slim. Mm-hmm. And one of the things when you get a defenseman like that, they're young, they got to physically mature as part of it. They got to get used to playing physically in the NHL. And this is going to sound weird to bring it this way, but he doesn't look like he's physically changed all that much since his rookie year.
No cream in the coffee.
And
that's why.
that could be it. And so like, I wonder if Del Mastro, being the bigger guy that he is, can play more physically, withstand more physically. If that's going to be what maybe sets him apart moving forward, and might just be something that holds Korchinski back, that his play is not going to overcome, is that like capability to play defensively, using your body, using positioning. We've had discussions with and about Alex Vlasic in that same way, and he's a bigger guy, he's more filled out, more physical, but even still, like, that's something that he's still learning to do, like the physicality part of being in the NHL and playing defense and being in front of the net and being in corners and all that stuff. So I think it could be something that Del Mastro has above Korchinski if you're comparing them 1-to-1, that maybe this coaching staff and Blashill kind of put him ahead in. And
I don't think there's any...
and that's something that's going to stick out.
There's no doubt about that. And this goes back to something we were talking about in the pregame show too, is like, is Kevin getting the message, right? Is he getting the message about, hey, we need you to get bigger and stronger? Like, yes, they're professional athletes. They have a full training staff, but it's up to these guys to do work on their own. We have spent hours on this podcast talking about the work Connor Bedard put in individually this summer to get faster, to get stronger, to get thicker, all the things he needed to do to have more success at the NHL level. We've seen, you just mentioned, Alex Vlasic, from the first time we saw him till now, is a different guy. Louis Crevier, same thing, was tall and skinny, but is filled out. You have to do things on your own. And I don't know if Kevin Korchinski is or is not doing that, but I see no difference in his body physically than I did when he was a rookie.
Right.
I just don't. And look, some people have trouble gaining weight. My cousin Alex was a special teamer for University of Oregon football, and whatever he did, he could not gain weight. He would go to Portillo's 4 times a day and have a cake shake for real, to the point where he was like upset and depressed about it. He's like, I'm so sick of this, but I have to gain weight. I have to gain weight. And he just couldn't.
Sounds awful.
He tried and he worked out and was trying to like, you know what I mean? It just didn't work for him. I just hope that Korchinski is getting the message here about what's happening on the ice, what's happening off the ice. Because as I said in the pregame, I'm a little bit disappointed that he did not come in 2 weeks ago to Hawks practice and really send a message to his coaching staff. You know who did that? Ethan Del Mastro tonight, whose plane landed today. Ethan Del Mastro stepped on the ice in the first period, had 2 shot attempts, several block shots. He went out and announced his presence with authority. And we have not seen that from Korchinski yet. And there's some people, as we have the conversation about the Hawks rebuild, saying like, how come Artem Levchinov is getting this long leash and Kevin Korchinski's not? We have seen, there's one tonight, that cross-ice pass he sent to Frank Nazar. These plays from Levchinov that he's made all year, they're like, oh my God. Very few defensemen can do that. Now, there's also moments where you say, oh my God, in a bad way. Like, what is he doing? Oh my God. Can you recall a single moment in Kevin Korchinski's time as a Blackhawk where you're like, that's what they took at number 7?
Not many that stand out. No. I mean, I think he's had those. When I think back to like his rookie year, there were a few moments where he had like some inconsistent stretches where it'd be like, okay, like that was it would be kind of like a give and take in a game. Like he'd have a good period, then a bad period, and then, you know, he might make a good play here or there. And it just wasn't consistently there. But as a 19-year-old rookie, you're like, all right, like we saw some flashes. Like, let's see where the development goes. And then, you know, through his time in Rockford, like there's still been those flashes. It's been a little bit better consistently, but again, at the AHL level, there's a difference as you take the step up to the NHL level. And still the defensive play is still something that is a work in progress with him. I just wonder how much time that progress is going to be given still. And I think with him, like he's expected to be a more offensive guy, but you still got to be able to play both sides of the puck. And Jeff Blashill has stressed that a lot since he's come in this year, and a lot of guys have taken that to heart, Connor Bedard especially. So yeah, I just wonder if there is if there's a way that, you know, he's going to be able to play that style and be able to play the defensive side strong enough that you feel confident that the offense is going to still stand out. And that, you know, he's going to be able to read the game at the NHL level. I think that's another thing with Korchinski is like his skating, his puck handling, his offensive instincts at the junior level and at the AHL level have been strong, but when he's been in the NHL, like it hasn't translated. And that's a big thing. Like if you're supposed to be entrusted with being a power play guy and being a puck mover, you have to put the puck in the right positions, put it in the right spots, make the right reads, make the right plays. And if you're not doing that, you're likely turning the puck over and costing your team chances going the other way. So if you do that too much and you're not making up for it on the offensive side with production or anything, then it's going to be hard to find a spot for you. So I would love for him to be able to get the opportunity to continue to work on that. And I want the opportunity on the ice. On the ice, yeah. In a game. But if he's not going to, then whoever's taking that spot, which it was Del Mastro tonight, and it, you know, who knows what's going to be moving forward. Wyatt Kaiser was skating before the road trip, and there was a chance he might go on the road trip, but he didn't. Wouldn't shock me if he plays Friday. He could be getting back to the lineup soon, and then there's a spot gone. Unless they move Grzelcyk. So and it's still not a spot for Korchinski. Right. Then he's the seventh defenseman. There's still competition for it. Yeah. So it's we're gonna see how it shakes out over the next few days. But if Grzelcyk's on the team Friday, Kaiser will eventually get back, and then you got to see where guys stand. Who stays then? Is Del Mastro going to stick around and Korchinski goes back to Rockford? Or does Korchinski stay up here and keep getting scratched, but he's with the NHL team? Like, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I just got your 6 months joke. It just sunk into me.
There you
well
go.
done.
Thank you.
What is that? That's what she said from Chloe. I don't know what she's referring to either. All right, we're going to hit the break zone. Hit the like button for us. Back in 2 minutes with some super chats and a whole lot more on CHGO Blackhawks. As a man, are you starting to feel like you have low energy throughout the day? Do you not have the same motivation or drive? Are you seeing that scale move up and the hair falling out? Are your muscles tightening up when you put your socks on, like me? That might be the result of low testosterone. It's very common as you age and something to be mindful of. So whether it's peak performance or becoming a better father, better husband, or better man, Game Day Men's Health wants to support every man's health journey through personalized care tailored to your goals. It's a super easy process. You're in and out the door in under an hour at one of their family and locally owned clinics. They've got a great rate of success. You'll feel better. You'll have more energy with testosterone, vitamin supplements, weight loss, and hair loss treatments. Take it from us and take it from Josh, who lost 100 pounds in a little over a year using their testosterone replacement therapy. Start your best life with Game Day Men's Health. Check out their locations or scan the QR code to find the one closest to you at GameDayCHGO.com.
And if you're looking to make sure that you are getting all the protein you need in your life and you don't want to order at the restaurant Cup O' Chicken, check out our friends at Huel. Their ready-to-drink, on-the-go drinks are perfect for making sure that you hit your protein goals. They have 35 grams of protein in each serving, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. What they don't have is artificial sweeteners, colors, and flavors, or gluten. Hey, that's good for me. You can have their ready-to-go drinks or their protein shakes as well. So you can do that for before or after your workouts to make sure that you're lifting weights and the protein is hitting your muscles the right way. You can get Huel for 15% off online with the code Blackhawks15. That's for new customers only. Go to Huel.com/Blackhawks15 to get 15% off your order. Do it right now. Get swole with Huel.
All right, now it's time for our new segment, Checking It Out, sponsored by Old National Bank. Every play matters, whether it's on the field or in your financial life. The best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Member FDIC. Checking out today, Connor Bedard rocking the A on the jersey. Boy, he plays differently when he wears the A.
Turn it to a C.
This is our buddy Windy City Hockey, who has a super chat for us, and we owe it to him. As the jersey aficionado of the planet Earth, I will say, tell us the dates that he wore the A so we can go crunch the numbers about the games he played wearing the A so far. We're going to give Windy City Hockey a homework assignment.
That's his assignment?
Yes.
Okay. I think he's only done it, what?
I think
8? Maybe 8 games?
Is it even that many?
Because he did it for a few games, like we said, when Dickinson and Foligno were hurt, and it was after the abuse of the official penalty, and he was wearing the A when he got hurt against St. Louis, if I'm remembering correctly. So
correct.
That might have only been like a 5 or 6 game stretch.
Well, it looks good on him.
So we'll see.
It fits. And Jeff Blashill, who spoke post-game, talks about it a little bit. So we're going to get to that here in a minute. But that was Checking It Out, sponsored by Old National Bank. Once again, every play matters, whether it's on the field or in your financial life. The best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. And reminder, they are member FDIC. We're going to get to Blashill here in a minute. Let's get to those super chats while we can. Windy City Hockey, who we just talked about. $2 says, feel like the beer sparked the Jets.
Yeah, how about that?
That
Bunch of, you Winnipeg beer wasters. Can't believe you just would huck a beer on the ice. Who does that?
I was just trying to share.
Who does that?
Yeah, that was
someone did.
And Ben Pope identified it as vomit on the ice.
Oh, that would have been worse.
Because I think Ben just saw them cleaning it up, and it got to slushy mode very quickly.
That happened in the was it the Olympics? Where was it that someone threw up on the ice? Or no, it was like the first night of games back from the Olympics.
Oh yeah,
I think it was Philip Gustafson might have been.
Yeah, when he was playing
with
the
Wild.
Avs.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
just vomited right in the crease.
I thought you were talking about when Nathan McKinnon threw up on the bench
Oh, yeah,
during
no,
the Olympics.
no.
He did the old like little kid drank too much Kool-Aid at the party throw up.
Because it
Where
was
it was just
straight
pure
blue.
Powerade coming
Yeah.
out of him.
Four cake shakes later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, he just come on. Don't. First of all, don't throw stuff on the ice.
Yeah,
Second
come
of all, don't waste beer.
That's a double sin.
Come on.
And then we got another super chat from Mike who says, we had 61 points last season. We have 56 right now with 21 games left. We are a lot better this year. Let's remember that.
It's true. It's progress.
I mean, you basically have, aside from Frondell, like all your top picks are playing at the NHL level to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
once Frondell's here by the end of the year.
they showed it on the broadcast. By almost 2 years, this is the youngest defensive core in the NHL.
Yeah.
Your forward group is probably about to join the likes of the defensive group by being one of the, if not the youngest in the NHL. You're going to, if they trade Dickinson and or Mikheyev and or Foligno,
Oh my God.
and replace them with Nick Lardis.
Their average age is going to be like 24.
By the time they end this season, they're going average age is going to be about 23 years old. They as a team would not be able to rent a car. Right? Because you have to be 25 to do that?
I think so.
Is that the rule
yeah.
still? It's going to be a young team and it's just, this is going to be, we've talked about at the beginning of this season, the excitement kind of centering around like, this is kind of like that first wave of the rebuild all starting to hit now and all starting to take that first step in the NHL. Now it's like the crux of the wave is now crashing, and you're seeing all of these guys that we've talked about for a number of years hit the NHL group, and like we're seeing it now. So it's, as much as it's going to come with growing pains, and it's not a lot of wins. It's been a better season than it has been in the last 2 years, and now we're seeing all these guys finally start maturing to NHL players, which is exciting. I got to stretch my leg 1 second. Hold on. Cramping up. Got low testosterone.
Foligno and Dickinson and Mikheyev get traded, Teuvo Teravainen will be the oldest Blackhawk. He'll be 31.
What a grandpa out there. Holy smokes.
Then it's Bertuzzi and Burakovsky are 30. Beyond those guys, Bedard 20, Crevier 24, Doc 23.
Donato's what?
Donato's 29.
Okay.
Greene 22. Kaiser 23. Knight 24. Korchinski 21. Levshinov 20. Moore 21. Nazar 22. Rinzel 21. Slaggert, old man 23. And Vlasic 24.
Crazy.
That is a really, really young team.
Yes, it is.
And there will be some growing pains, but it's going to be fun as hell.
Hey, D. Paris, don't call me out on crux of the wave. I don't know the actual parts of a wave, but crux was the word that came out of
Crest?
my mouth.
I think you're thinking of the crest.
Crest of the wave? Sure.
Crest of the wave.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a real part of the wave.
All right, let's hear from Blackhawks head coach Jeff Blashill. We're going to hear from Connor Bedard in a moment as well. And we got a little hit in the chat that he might have been a little salty today. Wonder why. Here's Jeff Blashill.
Seemed like for 50 minutes it was a really strong performance, and then just sat back a little too much, or maybe a little unlucky there at the end.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not a big believer in luck overall. Like I think I thought we played really good for lots of the game. I just thought we stopped kind of getting out of our zone clean. So because of that, we were in our end for the last 10, 12 minutes maybe, and it's just a hard way to play. We just didn't get out clean, and when we had it, I just thought we had opportunities to make a little more poised play, and we ended up icing too many pucks. I didn't think we gave up a whole bunch in that stretch, but eventually they found a way, obviously, so.
Guys stepping up into bigger roles?
Yeah, I thought guys played good. I thought the whole D-Corps played good. Kind of mix and matching partners at times a little bit, but I thought the whole crew played pretty good. I can't imagine we gave up many great A's in the game. I think the chances ended up 15-13 us, but there would have been maybe 5 or less grade A's again. So, that's a positive for sure. Again, you just got to find a way to win it.
I feel like they're having a decent number of games that have been tied late or lost late this year. Do you see any pattern in this? Like, do you feel like they've learned things from that, or? What do you take away from that?
Well, there's probably always different lessons. We certainly try to learn from every opportunity we can, win or lose. I think we've definitely been in a lot of tight games, which is a good thing in some ways. I think sometimes it's finding that next goal. When you don't score really easy, like if you score a little bit easier, you find a way to score the third one, and then the game's probably over. And when they happen to get 5-on-6, it's not as big a deal. But hey, we just I don't know that there's any particular pattern. I just think it's about us trying to continue to grow our game.
Bedard wearing the A that the Murphy vacated, will that be for the rest of the year?
Yeah, he'll wear the A the rest of the year. I had given it to him earlier when we had injury issues. I think he's earned it with his commitment to winning hockey, and that's the biggest thing that I talked to him about today. Is he has to continue. He's very, very competitive. He works hard every day. He's got to continue to be committed to winning hockey, and those are the ways that you lead. And so hopefully he can continue to do that.
Thought on your goaltender? Seemed like Spencer gave you every opportunity to win.
Yeah, I thought both goalies probably played really good, to be honest with you. We probably had the better chances. I thought, Connor Hellebuck kept him in probably in the first part of the game, and then I thought Spencer did a good job kind of locking the door the last period there when we were kind of on our heels. So I thought both are elite goalies, in my opinion, in the league. I thought they both did a good job.
All right, that is Jeff Blashill. Obviously disappointed after the loss. A little update here from our buddy Ben Pope at the Sun-Times. Today was the 9th time this season the Hawks have allowed a game-tying or game-deciding goal in the last 4 minutes of the third period.
All right, let's do some math here.
Okay.
Montreal losing goal with 15 seconds left. That's a regulation loss.
So we'll call that a point.
Let's call that one lost point. Anaheim,
they won that game.
They win in OT, but the tying goal was 36 seconds left. So you still get those 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Devils tied the game with 3 minutes and 46 seconds left. You lose in OT. 3 minutes and 46 seconds?
That's a point. That's a point you gave up. Yep.
Okay. Seattle losing goal with 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. That's a regulation loss. Is that 1 point down?
Yeah, it's 1 point down.
Okay, we'll play generous. That's 3 points. Vegas game tying goal with 2 minutes and 28 seconds left. You lose in OT.
That's a lost point.
So that's one lost point. Toronto regulation loss. Losing goal was with 3 minutes left. Is that another lost point?
Yeah,
at least
I think so.
Okay. Minnesota OT loss. Tying goal was scored with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. So that's another lost point. Okay, we're up to 6. Nashville losing goal was scored with 3 minutes and 14 seconds left. That's a regulation loss. Are we giving another point to them? Yep. Okay. And tonight, overtime loss, tying goal with 39 seconds left. So that's another point.
Another point. That's 8.
I have 8 fingers up in the air.
If the Hawks had 8 more points, they would have 64 points.
Because they have 56.
6 plus 8 is 14?
Yes.
Yes, they'd have
64.
They'd have 64 points. They would be 2 points ahead of the Sharks, and they would be 2 points out of the wild card.
Vibes are a lot different.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's being generous. Some of those games that go to OT were just, or regulation, they could have won them in over.
Sure.
Yep. That's even more points potentially left on the board. So, yeah, it's a real deflator to have games like that. But again, like it comes with being a young team, and it comes with the growing pains of a rebuild process. Like, you gotta be able to eventually learn and find ways to win. And it's not all on the young guys. They have veterans on this group that need to be able to, be the leaders in those moments and be the guys that can, aren't the ones that are making mistakes that lead to, late game tying or game losing goals and everything like that. So it's a process. And as people have said, this season is still on pace to be better than last season, which was better than the season before. Like, that's all progress that we've been talking about. And, finishing with 70 to 75 points was kind of a realistic expectation. Anything above that felt pretty good. They're still in that range where they can finish with in that point range, and that's the steps forward. That's the steps forward that we've been wanting to see and talking about all year. So as we've come back from the break and they've dropped 3 of 4 in the fashion that they have, it's deflating. But I think the last 2 games were better than the first 2 coming back from the break.
And one was against Colorado.
And right. And going into the break, they weren't playing really great. So I think you want to just kind of get back to stacking up good performances. And even though this was a loss tonight and you did come away with a point, it was a good performance, but it feels like sour to try and like pull that out of it, have the silver lining out of it. But the last 2 games, you've been good enough to win. You got to win, and you got to overtime in the other one. Now you go up, or now you come back home. You'll have a couple home games now. Deadline will be over the next time they hit the ice. So even though they'll have to go through it, that'll be done, and you can just go to the end of the season.
Breathe a little bit.
Breathe a little bit. Have about would it be 19 games left?
Yeah, and
just keep stacking those good performances. Don't let it snowball in the wrong direction.
All right, why don't we hear from the Blackhawks' newest alternate captain, Connor Bedard, who spoke after today's game.
After was like a pretty good performance for most of the game.
Yeah, obviously. So, got to find a way there.
For you, I mean, it seemed like another strong game. Have you continued to feel good yourself out of the break?
Yeah, not bad. I thought there's things I could do better for sure. I thought we created some good chances, but we can always do more.
I know you wore the A earlier this season, but now that's a little bit more permanent. What's the meaning of that to you?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think, obviously guys like Murph, like Dickey, like Fliggy that, we've learned from for a couple years now. And, it's nice to, obviously the letter doesn't change anything you do as a person or anything, but obviously nice to be recognized like that. And a lot of great players aboard. So, it's not something that anyone takes for granted.
Connor, I thought on your goaltender, it seems like he gave you every chance to win.
Yeah, that's what he does. I don't think there's a goalie in the league that has performed like him this year. Every game we've been in, basically, both our goalies have been great, and it's frustrating. That adds some frustration because he's doing so much for us. So we want to help him get those wins, those results.
Do you feel like the game was going the way you guys wanted for the most part until late?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. We didn't give them too much the first probably 50 minutes. I mean, I think then obviously they're pressing, but we sit back a little bit. I think, when you're defending a lead and you sit back, it's not a good recipe. We want to try to get in their end and cycle it and whatnot. And, I thought we sat back a little bit.
There's been a lot of overtime games this year. Are there things you guys have learned about what works and what doesn't in that format?
Yeah, I mean, you look at all, it's just little plays. It's man on man, so it's hard to create too much on your own. Turnovers here and there that lead to a chance, lead to a goal, stuff like that. And we got to find a way to win more of them, but it's just little things.
I mean, that sums it up right there. I mean, he's said what we've been saying for 48 minutes plus now. It's those little things. And interesting that he noted the man-on-man is a bit restrictive, it sounded like there. You can't generate a lot when you're man-on-man off of turnovers.
Yeah, in 3-on-3. Yeah. Because if you bust out of the zone to go make a play early and leave your man,
you're screwed.
You're really giving up an opportunity to try and create one. And if it doesn't go your way, you've completely biffed your defensive assignment, and it could basically fall to you. So that makes sense to look at it that way. But, I think they had chances in the overtime. There was one play, I forget who made the pass, but I think it might have been Nazar. He went like from board to board trying to hit Bedard with a stretch pass in the offensive zone. And I think it was just like off to his backhand and he couldn't corral it. But if it was in his wheelhouse, it's probably the end of the game.
That's
like
it.
it was it's just those small details,
Those little things.
just being off by a couple feet on a pass could be the difference in a win and a loss. So it's just those things that, as these guys continue to progress, learn the game, learn how to win in the NHL, and mature and all that stuff, they'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm still very positive that they will get there in their careers.
Well, not surprising. Connor Bedard is our Game Day Men's Health Game Puck winner. 2 assists in this one, played 1953, 3 shots on goal, 4 shot attempts, had a hit. Won 3 and lost 7 faceoffs. The faceoffs have not been great since the Olympic break. Maybe just trying to find that groove again. Also, Winnipeg's a pretty good faceoff team, but the Hawks as a team won 57% tonight. So, better father, better husband, better man. Go to Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayCHGO.com to find locations closest to you. And as we predicted, our buddy Windy City Hockey was all over it. Went back and ran the numbers. Connor Bedard has worn the A for 11 games this season. First one was that game against Calgary, where he had a hat trick. In the 11 games in which Connor Bedard has worn the A, 8 goals and 7 assists, 15 points in 11 games with the A on his chest. Let's hope that trend continues.
15 divided by 11
Times 82.
1.363 times 82 is 112 points.
That's fine.
It's pretty good.
That's a fine for year 4. We'll see it go up when Frundell and Cancerov get here, but
I want to go back.
Thank you, Windy City Hockey, by the way, for crunching the numbers. We appreciate that
always
big time.
Pulling through for us. Mark Lazarus said earlier tonight, I think this was after the 2-1 goal, Connor Bedard is playing at a 43-goal, 54-assist pace over an 82-game season. That is 97 points.
Sounds right.
Now, obviously, he missed.
Yeah.
What was it, 13 games? But still, that's you talk about the changeover from year 2 to year 3 and the expectations and the changes he made. He's even with the injury and even with the kind of slump, and even he is still hitting, if not well above, the expectations that I think a lot of people had for him this year.
So I'm glad you mentioned this, because I think you can frame the rebuild really easily in this way. It took Connor Bedard till year 3 to reach anything close to what we all believed his potential was. And when I say we, I mean everyone in the hockey world. Draft analysts,
Pretty big
scouts,
collective,
coaches, GMs. Everybody knew Connor Bedard was going to be first overall in the 2023 draft since probably 2020, right? And it took him 3 seasons to reach anything close to that potential.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a guy who's been called generational, that's been called the next insert superstar player here. It took him 3 years to get there. So now we're talking about a lot of young players. Frank Nazar, a little bit of a slump in year 2, has 2 goals since Halloween or whatever it is. Right? You've got ups and downs from Artem Levshinov. You've got young players who are learning at the NHL level that did not have the pedigree that Connor Bedard had. So if it takes a prospect like Bedard that long to get it, I think it's safe to give a little bit of runway to these other young players that were picked in the top 20 or top 10 or whatever it might be, that were not deemed generational, that were not like Levshinov was not a consensus number 2 pick. A lot of places had him around there, right? Depending on taste, but it was not like a foregone conclusion that he was number 2 overall. It just takes time for it's very rare. And there's always people in here that are like, well, Matthew Schaefer was great right away. Yes. And Matthew Schaefer is doing things in this game that are historic. He's up there with guys like Bobby Orr, and Dennis Potvin is like shattering records of, these are Hall of Famers that he's up against.
Most goals as a teenage defenseman in NHL history.
Yes.
In a season.
You can cherry pick your argument against these picks. And look, all of this stuff.
Not every number 1 overall pick is Mario Lemieux. Not
right.
every number 1 overall pick is freaking like, yeah, not every number one
No, Yakupov.
overall pick steps. Jack Hughes, Wayne Gretzky, same person. They don't step on the ice and become the best player on whatever team that they're being drafted to. It doesn't always have. Well, sometimes that's the case, but I just mean like they don't have that like team on their back. I'm the captain now kind of ability. And I will say too, as much as we've talked about and understand that the rebuild process is not, an overnight thing, and Kyle Davidson has stuck to his plan of building from the draft and building from within and making sure that the future of the Hawks is all is not squarely on Bedard's shoulders. People have called for better line mates for Bedard, and Davidson is basically drafted and waited for those guys to kind of come through. Bedard has been doing what he's done through the first 3 seasons, best teenage player the Blackhawks have ever seen in franchise history, and taking the step from year 2 to year 3 with the lowest quality of teammates that you can track back to McDavid and Crosby and when they stepped into the league as number 1 overall picks. So yeah, you could hold that against Davidson, and I can understand why some people do. But I think it's part of the discussion of like what he's done with the guys around him. And imagine now he's taken that next step, and now the rest of the young guys can start taking that next step, and they all do it together. Right. And then that is what next season is. I'm hoping what next season is going to look like when we talk about the projection of what next year's roster is going to look like. Frank Saravalli's done his, we've done ours, and all over the months of this year, we're kind of talking about like, oh, what could next year be with Frondell and Cancerell and all that stuff. It's going to be a real young team, and all those guys are going to be moving forward together now, and that's what this has kind of all been about. That's what the off-ice prospect camp became. It wasn't like, let's just interrupt these guys this summer just to skate for 4 days. It's let's get these guys together as a group
and have them fight each other.
Let's build this culture of from these prospects and these young guys of like doing it together, doing it as a group. And the amount of time a lot of these guys have played in Rockford together and come up together and had chemistry right away in the NHL, and knowing each other from playing World Juniors together and playing in college and junior. Like these guys just like all are able to kind of have that connection right away, so that they're not just throwing random guys into the NHL and saying, here, you all figure it out now, you're all 20 years old. You think about the Blackhawks teams of 2010 and 13 and 15, especially that 2010 team, how many of those guys had that experience of like they were drafted in 04, 05, and they played on the 06 Norfolk Admirals, and then played in Rockford in 07 and 08, and then came up and they were on that 08, 09 team that went further than anyone expected, and then boom, they win the cup. Like they had that like come up together. So they had that like that atmosphere, and I think that's a big thing that Kyle Davidson is trying to not replicate, but he's trying to have that similar experience for this group to kind of like experience the rise together and have the talent to do it.
And
so
they are a tight knit group. Like the young guys in the room, Doc and Moore and Nazar and Bedard, and they are all tight. They all hang out. They're all very close. And I think, the prospect, what you're talking about, the prospect camp has gone a long way in that, where, like you said, they're not punching each other, trying to impress a coach. They're hanging out. They're getting to know each other. They're doing off ice stuff. Like the process is sound. We don't know what these guys are going to turn out to be, but all you can ask for is a sound process and a thorough scouting process. And the Hawks have one of the biggest scouting staffs in the NHL. I don't think they're all idiots. A lot of people want former players to be part of it. Brian Campbell is the assistant GM. Kendall Coyne Schofield is on a development staff. Chris Kunis is on a development staff.
Colin Fraser,
yes. Right? Yeah. Like there are very accomplished hockey players on the Blackhawks staff to assist Kyle Davidson and whatever that might be. And let's not forget too, whatever you think of Sam Bowman, Kyle Davidson spent 9-10 years before he was GM in the Blackhawks, working in hockey ops, working under Sam Bowman and learning the ropes. He wasn't just pulled off the street. I know a lot of people just heard of him when he was hired because he was so behind the scenes, but it's a guy who paid his dues regardless of whether he played hockey or not.
Yeah, he was assistant GM at the time when they made that change, and then he was promoted to interim, and then they took the interim tag off. It wasn't just like some, as you said, some random guy. Like, he'd been around the organization for a long time.
All right, we are going to wrap things up.
I do want to say,
oh yeah,
you did say Frank Nazar hasn't scored since Halloween. He's got 2 goals.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Since Halloween.
2 since Halloween.
Yes, 2
Run
since
the
Halloween,
tape,
of course. December 18th at Montreal and January 30th against Columbus. Both in losing efforts, so it's easy to forget.
And we are technically in overtime, so if you're watching on the fast channels,
we dropped a point.
Switch over.
God,
damn it, we blew that late.
We gotta finish in
we
regulation.
Gotta finish strong. But we're going to tell you about our event tomorrow one more time. The 4-year anniversary of CHGO, Chicago's 189th birthday. We're going to be at Leaders right on Madison and Racine, 1152 West Madison, with our collab with Free Agent. Get some limited edition. It's been a long show. Custom merch only available tomorrow at Leaders. We're going to be there from noon to 7. Mario, Chloe, and myself will be at Leaders from 1 to 2-ish. So come say hi to us. But the whole CHGO crew is going to be in and out the door all day.
With their characters and personalities.
Yes, we're doing. Come get a hug from Big Dave. If that doesn't get you in the door, nothing will. The man smells delightful. He's the best hugger I've ever hugged. Come meet Big Dave. Come hang out with us tomorrow at Leaders. It's going to be a great time. And like we said earlier, stay tuned for a special announcement coming for you tomorrow. Something that's tomorrow only that might tickle your fancy.
Yes.
All right. We will talk to you at 3 or at Leaders at 1 tomorrow on CHGO Blackhawks.
We all silly like the mayor.